Hello everybody, my name is Jake Stainer. Today I'm doing my presentation on brain aneurysms. What is the problem and what is the solution? As I was thinking about what to do for my presentation, I thought of two questions. One being, what's a big problem in our society? The other being, what can we do to fix this problem? As I was thinking of these two questions, three significant people came into my mind. My friend Clayton Riggs, two of my family friends, Danny Plater, and Rick Emanuel. All three of these family friends actually suffered from brain aneurysms this past year, actually in the past 2-3 months. Clayton was only 47 years old. He had 6 kids, big family. Rick was only 55. Danny was only 61. So all three of these people were very young. And they unfortunately lost their lives unexpectedly to brain aneurysms. The hardest part of this is that all three of these people were perfectly healthy before. None of them were expecting to have this happen to them. None of their family members were expecting it. So it was kind of really scary. And that's why brain aneurysms are so scary and why they're such a big problem in our society today. Just some facts about them and some problems really about brain aneurysms. 30,000 people in the United States suffer from a brain aneurysm each year. And a brain aneurysm ruptures every 18 minutes. So my point of view, that's too many and that's too often. There's 500,000 deaths worldwide each year, and half of those victims are younger than 50. That is way too young to be losing people, and that's way too many people to lose to brain aneurysms in a year. Ruptured brain aneurysms are fatal in about 50% of cases. Of those who survive, about 66 suffer some permanent neurological deficiency. So 50% of people, so 250,000 people are dying a year, and 66% that don't die are having problems the rest of their lives. That's just too many people, way too many people. Despite the widespread availability of brain imaging that can detect a ruptured brain aneurysm, misdiagnosis or delays in diagnosis occur in up to 1/4 of patients when initially seeking medical attention. In 3 out of 4 cases, misdiagnosis results from a failure to do a scan. So that's just way too much misdiagnosis, and it's because they don't know who really, it's kind of an unknown thing, brain aneurysms. None of my 3 friends knew they were going to have one. And so it's kind of a scary thing that we still don't know how to diagnose it. A solution to the problem, hopefully. I believe is genetic testing. Did I just stop it? No, we're good. Okay. Genetic testing. Collaborators in Europe did a study. They identified patients with aneurysms and control subjects, 1,805 in Finland and 7,205 in the Netherlands. The researchers then determined these individuals' DNA sequence at 300,000 sites of common variation within the genome. These sites are distributed across all of the chromosomes. By comparing the frequency of each variant in individuals with and without aneurysms, cases, and controls, the team identified 4 sites in the genome where a particular sequence variant was significantly more frequent in cases than controls. To confirm these results, the team then studied these 4 chromosome segments in an independent group of 1,171 Japanese subjects. 3 of the sites showed the same association to aneurysms found in the Finnish and Dutch populations, providing strong evidence that the results were not obtained by chance. So, the cases that were studied, they were found to have more sites in the genome. There was a frequency to that. So they actually found that these cases were true, that these people were more likely to have a brain aneurysm. Lifton points out that since the risk alleles are present in both the Japanese and the European populations, whose overall genetic backgrounds vary more than groups within Europe, these findings are likely to be relevant for a very large fraction of the world's population. So just in this small study, we can see that the scientists found out that these people are having frequency in their genome to have them more susceptible to have a brain aneurysm. Each of these three variants has a fairly modest impact on risk, Janul says, each copy increasing risk by 24 to 36%. But when you compare those with the fewest risk alleles, when you compare those with the fewest risk alleles to the group with the most risk alleles, the risk of an aneurysm goes up about threefold. So if you times 24 or 36 by 3, that's 80 to 90% that a person will have a brain aneurysm. In addition, Janul indicates that there are likely many other alleles that increase risk to a smaller degree, but a larger study will be required to find them. This information starts to put us on path toward being able to identify patients who should be screened for brain aneurysms. And I totally agree. In this small study, we see that these people are way more likely to have a brain aneurysm than people that don't have that variant in their genome. Like I said, a solution is genetic testing and genetic modification. This is just some information about what people have found in the genome. One thing they found was intracranial aneurysm, IA, is a common vascular disorder that frequently leads to fatal vascular rupture, which is a brain aneurysm. Although various acquired risk factors associated with IA have been identified, the hereditary basis of IA remains poorly understood. As a result, genetically modified animals accurately modeling IA and related pathogenesis have been lacking, and subsequent drug development has been delayed. The transcription factor SOX17 is robustly expressed in endothelial cells of normal intracerebral arteries. The combination of SOX17 deficiency and angiotenesis 2 infusion in mice induces vascular abnormalities closely resembling the cardinal features of IA, such as luminal dilation, wall thinning, tortuosity, and subarachnoid hemorrhages. I wish I could say all those words good, but I can't. However, we do see that in this, they're finding things in people's genomes that make them more susceptible to having brain aneurysms or hemorrhages. Let's see. I believe that the solution lies in genetic testing. 3 slides in a row. Genetic testing is the key. I believe every single person born should have their entire genome recorded and available to view at any time. If SOX17, IA, or angiotenesis 2 are discovered, or like there's alterations in their genes with these 3 factors, we should genetically modify these so that they're like a normal humans. And if that's not possible, I'll give 2 solutions. If that's not possible to genetically modify these genes, at least doctors will know who's at higher risk of having a brain aneurysm. And for those that are, they can have frequent checkups. The intended market for genetic modification would obviously be those whose genome shows more susceptibility to brain aneurysms. So those who have their genome recorded can look at that and say, okay, I'm more susceptible to having a brain aneurysm, I should get checked up more frequently. And going back to my slide about the problems with brain aneurysms, in 3 out of 4 cases, misdiagnosis results from failure to do a scan. If every single person had their genome, we would know exactly who needs to have a scan, and misdiagnosis would be close to none. And then CRF Title 45, Volume 46, how does this work with what I'm trying to do? According to autonomy, people would be able to leave at any time. No one would be forced to get their genes modified, so that would be totally okay. Obviously, we would have to do animal trials first to make sure that this was safe for them. But if they didn't want to get genetically modified, they wouldn't have to. They could just have their human genome and do things that would help them, like frequent checkups. This actually could be a potential problem though, because genetically modifying animals' genes could be successful, but as soon as we try to genetically modify a human's gene, it could mess something up in their genome or cause further problems. So, according to beneficents, that could be harmful towards people. So that could, potentially be a problem. According to Justice, I think there would be no problem. According to this website I found here, it just talks about that it's only around $1,000 to get your complete genome recorded. I think this is a reasonable price to help people, to fix something that could potentially cause death to someone. And I'm over 10 minutes, but the answer is genetic testing. Thank you, everybody.